Welcome. What's going on? What's happening? How are you? It is in review. We are back here. We have a great guest that's going to be joining us today. Um, very seasoned, has a lot of experience and background with what she does and what she does. She does it very well on the marketing media scene. So very excited to have her on the program. Um, she's no stranger. She's been here before, but it's been a while since we had her. So very excited to see what she has going on. Rachel, who usually co-hosts the show with me, she's having some technical difficulties. So we're gonna see if we can get her on. Let me try and pull her up. Hold on, y'all. One sec. All right, so we'll see if we can get Ray on. But hope everybody is good. Hope all is well in your part of the town, in your part of the world, and you are doing great. A lot of things are going on. A lot of things are happening. It's the fall. It's craziness. You got like um, wildfires in the Northeast. You got like um, winter in the West. It's just really crazy. Just really nuts out there. And here's Rachel joining me right now on the program.
How's my brick
All
wall look?
right. Cool. Like you look like you're going in and out of the brick wall. Okay.
Why?
It's just I guess the way you got it set up. But anyway, it's all good. We're gonna continue on here
I'm gonna
because
pick another one. Hold on.
we got a show to do. So in any event, we got a great guest coming up for y'all. Um, I don't know what Rachel's doing right now. we have a show going on, right? Like,
I mean, I got to pick my spot, right?
well, how you doing? How
You
you
know
doing
what, see,
today?
truth. Let me tell you something. This has been an eventful week. I will say that. I am currently in Louisiana. I am headed to back to Atlanta for the holidays, so I'm excited about that. And I've had a lot going on. I had some new business ventures. I had some new business ventures. Then I had some that I had to leave behind, and puppy sick, all kind of stuff. But despite it all, today has been amazing. This week has been amazing, and I'm excited. I'm excited.
Lovely.
How about
Yes.
you? See, how's your week been?
It's been good. It's been good. Busy, a lot of things going on, a lot of things happening, a lot of work going on. I did though take the time out to go check out this show in Brooklyn called Catch 77, and it was downtown Brooklyn, and it was basically a bunch of different acts and people performing. So there were like people doing poetry, spoken word, people who were acting, people who were doing dance, and it was both like regular dance routines, and it was also like a dance number where it was kind of like a story going on while the person was dancing. So it was like
Right,
a lot of different things like that happening. And
right.
then during intermission, you had like a community section where anybody could go up there and like talk about what it was that they were doing. So it was a cool, great show, great experience, and it took me back to like when I was coming up, and you had shows like this like all the time going on, where you had just people with all different talents come together to perform at small venues, and you got a chance to like really mix and mingle as well with the artists and with the people that perform. So you had
It was
that back and
culture.
forth with the audience. Yeah, definitely culture,
Yeah,
art,
yeah.
art in effect.
And it's
None of
interesting
the BS.
because we no matter what else was going on in our lives, we always had a little bit of that too. It created a balance.
Right.
So a lot of
Right.
us grew up with a really fond appreciation for
Yeah.
the arts, for culture. Even if we weren't singers or we didn't play an instrument or something, we were able to be exposed to those things and that
Exactly.
energy of creativity.
No question. No question.
Yeah, that's really
Absolutely.
dope.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
indeed.
like that. I like that.
Yeah. So, and then other than that, just checking out some basketball. It's hoop season again. NBA in full swing. They got the NBA Cup going on. You got college basketball back. So I watch all of that. Like I'm a huge basketball fan. So this is the time.
So you set then. You good to
I,
go.
I'm definitely set. Definitely
You
set. I
good to
do
go.
I do NFL football as well, but basketball is the number one thing, without a doubt. And the number one thing right now is to do the greetings to everybody that's checking out the show. Can't forget about that. So we got to get to that before we get any further. And before I forget to do the greetings, I say good morning, good afternoon, good night, buenos noches, buenos dias, konnichiwa, salam, namaste, sakpase, sakafets, assalamu alaikum, good day, nehoma, bonjour, bonsoir, what up, son, what up, do, alito, akashke, what the business is, where you at, Nef? Fabubona, Suwabona, and yo, Lacey, Suwate, Mujukwe, Benvenu, Que pasa, Que paso, Ahoy, Hala, Hafa, Nangadef, Como ça va, what's going on, where you at, Neff, and all that. Greetings to everybody checking out the program right now.
We say all that.
All
And
that.
what up? What up?
Absolutely.
Y'all, listen, check it out. If there's a greeting that we miss, or you have a
Yeah,
greeting from your hometown or the place from whence you dwell, feel free to share
right.
that with us because we want to say
Yeah,
hello
yeah.
to your folks too. So we
Absolutely.
make
Yeah.
sure we say hi to
Yeah.
everybody when we start the show. And we got a good one for you today.
Oh,
We got a
yeah.
good one for today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm telling y'all, we often talk about the business of entertainment on this show, right?
Yeah.
Many
Yeah.
different facets of things that the moving parts that make projects successful, right? Make artists successful. And our guest today contributes to that greatly, has contributed to that for a very long time. So for everyone that is watching the show, or if you know anyone that aspires to be into publicity or marketing or work projects, or just have a different insight from someone that's seasoned, right? Then call them up, tell them to tune in because this is going to be a good one.
No question. Definitely. Definitely. Especially on the front of like what's going on today. And she has a unique way of how she does things and like who she works with and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna get into all of that. So
Yes. Y'all excuse me, I'm not in my normal setting, so it's anyway. Yes. 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 So is our guest with us?
yes, she is. Oh, what's okay. Ray has a lot going on today. I don't know what's happening. She should know better. We got a show going on that we're trying to do. But anyway.
Someone opened the door and the chimed,
Okay.
if you will.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's how y'all do in Louisiana? That's how you get down over there in Louisiana?
This is really,
I heard about y'all. Now I see.
It's a complete submergent experience. So we're submerged in it's a 360 experience. April will she understands this, I bet you. Okay. I bet you. We're gonna ask her. Her. So before we bring our guest on, let me just share a little bit of information. We will of course allow her to introduce herself, but tonight we're talking with Miss R.Silver from Akila Worksongs. And like I mentioned before, she is when you think about the essence of communication, especially as it pertains to the community. Just a lot. Sorry about that. As it pertains to communication, she is that person. So I'm going to let her do some introductions on her own. See,
right.
Come on in.
So let's bring in the CEO, founder, entrepreneur, mentor, educator, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So many different things that she does, and we're very, very excited and happy to have her on the program. Miss April Silver, how are you? Unmute yourself, April. Unmute your mic.
See, I just discredited my whole everything. Not we starting off with unmute your mic. Like, sorry about that.
Listen, it is no different from the other stuff that's going on here tonight. So you fit right in.
Yo, did I hear a dog barking? Is that what that was?
It was
It
because
In the
was. It
doorbell?
was.
So,
let me give you the backstory. Instacart arrived. So
oh,
that's what happened. Yeah.
that is
We had no
hilarious.
control over the timing of that. So
Right, of course. Listen, Instacart, they know me very well.
yes,
So I
right. And
get
they
it.
come,
I get it.
yeah, they come when they come, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a little tricky. But how you been, April? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. It's so good to see you. I'm well. All things considered, I'm well. I'm well. Good to see you. Good to see you. Very glad to be here. And you too, See Truth.
Thank you. Thank
Well, I did a mini
you.
intro. So why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners and our viewers and our guests?
Yeah. Gosh, like how much time do we have? Like I'm so full of life right now.
We got time.
Um,
We
so
got
you,
time.
you can do the symbolic kick me under the table if I'm going too much, right?
You're
But
good. You're good, buddy.
nah, you had it right. Founder and CEO of Akila Worksongs, and that's a communications and marketing agency. And I'm very happy to say we celebrated this year in 2024. We turned 31, and so we'll be 32 in the spring. So we've been doing this for a minute. We've been doing this for a minute, and very proud of it. Like you said, See Truth, the clients that we have that come under or come to us for service in terms of communications and marketing, it ranges anywhere from aspiring poets to multi-billion dollar philanthropics. You know what I mean? Like literally, it is that full range. And so we are the go-to agency, I'd like to say, as people have said to us, we're that go-to agency when your target audience is primarily people of African ancestry, the progressive community, hip hop heads, of which I am one proudly, um, independent artists, community art, black theater, black thought, black culture, progressive culture. You know, I remember the time we had our first white client, which was actually Alex Bouillon, the jazz musician. That was our first white client, and that was a little bit of a evolution for me because as a Howard grad, I was blackety black, black, and everything needed to be done for black people, right?
Of
um and
course.
and and not at any negative exclusion of anybody else, but in my point of view, there was enough going on in other communities where I felt like I and all of my agency's energy needed to fill our cups, because in so many ways, not 100%, but in so many ways we were at a deficit. So I came out of Howard University. I graduated in 91, and that was my thing. So there was a broadening of my perspective over time. And I really did go into that mindset that says you judge people by the content of their character. Of course, as King taught us. And so that evolution opened the door for me to have non-black clients, right? Of which Alex Bouillon was the first, and we had a really good relationship. The jazz artist, we had a really good relationship. So when I say people of African ancestry, primarily that's throughout the world, but it's also progressive people of good character, regardless of race. Whatever the identity is, I've learned, and I'm very proud to be able to say that one's character matters more so than these superficial things like race. And we are certainly the group of people who don't diminish race,
Right.
that identity, like that's totally not us. But I also know that to connect with human beings around their ideology, their behavior, what they're doing, do their words match their
Yeah.
deeds?
Yeah.
Are they full of it? Is it a farce? Is it not? That matters deeply. So yes, we've been doing communications and marketing campaigns along those lines. We are the epitome of arts and activism in terms of our agenda, and that's something we've been doing for quite some time. I'm a writer as well. I'm a published writer and editor, which is my first love. Writing and editing
Mm.
is my first love. I'm a wordsmith. Um, so yeah, I'll stop there.
Well,
Stop
no,
there.
you said something very interesting. When you've been doing this for 31 years, right? Um, what do you see as different? Like, is there anything that's happened between now and then that has caused you to change your course in terms of the integrity of your brand?
Not at all.
Not at
Not at
all.
all.
That's what I love about. I love that you're because it's a laser journey, right?
Mhm.
And when we say things like we're blackity black black, does being that 31 years ago mean the same today? Do you think? Like, has the landscape changed?
No, no. I think that as a student of history, 31 years ago, someone could have asked that same question to someone who was coming of age in 1991, early 90s, right? So we have precedents, in our family, in our collective Black family, in the human race. We have precedent. So the fundamentally the social injustices of 2024 fundamentally are the injustices that we were dealing with in 1991 and in 1862 and 1700s. Like the racism and sexism and the injustice and the this mythical good versus evil is a real thing, and it manifests in humans wherever they are. What has broadened is my understanding of what it means to be human, what it means to have this human experience or a spiritual experience in a human shell.
That's right.
That has
Right.
broadened. Most recently, I think, to kind of to extend your question a little bit, I have learned that the proximity of darkness and negativity and opposing forces, that which is with that which opposes light and love, is way more present than I ever imagined. I'm 56, and I'm the 56-year-old that's always going around telling her age because I'm so happy to be here and to be alive. I'm so proud of my uh happy for my existence. I don't hide
Yeah.
my age, right? Because for some people it's instructive, right? When they can look at the kind of person I am or the lineage of from which I come, it could be I recognize humbly that could be inspirational. So I'm a proud 56-year-old, and it took me a long time to realize that proximity of opposed forces, that those things that oppose love and laughter and joy and freedom,
Hmm.
it's everywhere. It's not this thing that you might one day run into, and you might one day be tested, about what you believe. Like it's internal first,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah, it's
also
spiritual.
out.
It starts in spirit first. And
What? That's the whole truth.
having how often do you have to, and this is something that I've had to do as well, but I'm curious to know that piece of it. How often do you have to insert that into your work? Like, there's a learning curve when it comes to certain artists, right? How often do you have to insert that piece so that you guys are in alignment
With our clients, or just like just
with
in
your
general?
clients in terms of how
Every
you
day,
work or your
every day, every day. It's with clients. It's with staff. It's with partners. It's with family members. I don't know when we don't have to be conscious of it. And maybe it's not a present thought like right here 100% of the time, but certainly subconscious, or the behavior that we have is impacted by maybe, for example, the crud that we've not learned how to scrape off, right? Or Just even in our language, as a wordsmith, I'm way more particular about language and words and the power of words. And we have so many elders to thank for helping us remember the power of words. It's in traditional African philosophies and way of being. Fast forward to, do you that clip? Did you see that clip where Maya Angelou was like, "Words are living things.
Yes.
They
Yes.
live, they live on the drapes. The words you speak, they cling to the walls in your apartment. They are in the bed with you. They're sitting on the chair.
Yes.
That word that you said, that
It's
negative word,
there.
is sitting right there in that chair, next to you. So even in the words that we choose, the decisions that we make, that which is intangible manifests in some way, in some material way, and we can either choose to build on negativity and have that take shape and form, either in our bodies or in our relationships or in our illnesses or how we relate to people or whether or not we say good morning when we
Right.
greet each other, or it could it could build something positive, and not the type of optimism where you are belittling realities of the world, but the kind of optimism that says, I have precedent for victory. I have examples in my lineage as a Black woman, as a writer, as an entrepreneur, as a daughter. I have examples of how to choose better. Let me tap into that. Let me reinforce that every freaking every day. So
Yeah.
that's my long answer.
Yeah. Yeah. How so? And I'm asking questions based on the possibility that there are people listening, right, that are interested in becoming a part of the communications community or a publicist or to become a publicist.
Right.
So how long did it take you as a like say, because I know a lot of people that are starting out, they're kind of chasing checks, if you will. They're getting, you need a publicist, I got you. But at some point you stop that piece and then you start being very selective in who you choose to work with or for. How long does that take? How long did that take for you to decide these I'll pass, there's someone else that might be a better fit for you. These are the type of artists, people that I want to represent.
That's a really, really good question. I say that I don't want to romanticize. I want to go back to like day one. I was very clear of who we wanted to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was very clear the importance of trying to sustain my business, and I didn't do well at all in the beginning.
Mm.
Not at all. If I got a big check one month, I had no check the next. You know what I mean? If I had
That's the nature of the
two,
beast, though, right? Like that's a
yes,
part of,
that's the famine. If you don't
yeah,
have the fortitude to deal with feast or famine, this the entrepreneurship type
not
thing
your
may not
gig.
be the. It's not.
Not your
No,
gig.
no, go do something else. You got to be prepared
Right.
for. Wasn't good at it, but I still knew that there was a kind of a certain kind of client, a certain kind of relationship that I wanted. That because I needed the relationships and the people we represented to be reflective of the philosophy and the culture at Akila Worksongs. Now,
Right.
I overdid it. I wanted to be everybody's friend. I was going to be the publicist. And, in the beginning, let me say this, I didn't identify as a publicist. I was like, Terry Williams is a publicist.
Right.
I carry her water. I have the blessing and the privilege to have been mentored by her, as so many people in the
Terry. Oh my goodness.
field.
It's been a long time.
We love Terry. Where would we be without Terry,
I
right? Shout
know.
out.
Right.
Yeah. So I never identified as a publicist because I had not earned. I knew I was a hard worker. I knew I
Right.
would aspire to that, but in the I wouldn't use term. I would make up terms just to avoid that one because that was Terry Williams' world. But I overdid it because I wanted to be everybody's friend. I allowed clients to call me at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I had meetings at 6 a.m. to accommodate their schedules. You know what I mean? I would have a 2 hour meeting, but it really should have only been 30 because I needed to get to know the client. needed them to understand that I get them and I'm not corporate and I'm chasing you off the phone. There's no timer. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
made myself over available. And
Mm,
not just for the money, but for the relationship because I was
right.
insecure about what I was doing. I overcompensated for the fact that I didn't go to college to be in communications and marketing.
Right.
So I was overcompensating. But in the very beginning, though, I can tell you there were people I was quick to turn away. I was like, "Oh, you don't
Hmm.
fit." People who were I call them the shiny glossy people, you know, and everything is transactional. I was like, yeah, we're not a good fit. I knew I wasn't the red carpet type of publicist. I hired people. I subcontracted people to do red
Right.
carpets because
Right.
I'm not into fashion. I'm always in the hoodie. You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? That's not my
Casual,
thing. But
comfortable.
oh,
Right.
please. That wasn't my thing. And that is an aspect of PR, right? But
For
that just
sure.
wasn't my thing. I really wanted people to be in alignment with their own message. I wanted them to
Hmm.
have solid bios. I didn't want them to send out shit that had, oh, sorry. I don't know if we can
You're
curse.
fine.
Okay. I didn't, I didn't want them to send out stuff that had typos. So I'm
Yeah.
like, no, no,
Yeah.
that kind of presentation, that's the kind of presentation that was important to me.
Hmm.
Can you articulate your mission and your vision in 30 seconds? If you're going to do an interview and they tell you that you have 15 minutes, but something happened in the world, and so now that interview is 3 minutes, are you going to freak out? Can you still carry your own? That kind of training is what we provided. That was the kind of publicist I still am. But don't ask me to go with you to walk the red carpet. I got somebody on staff for that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for
Does that
sure.
answer your question? Though, am I answering your
It
question?
does. No, it
Okay.
does. And it's important to make those distinctions
Hmm.
and how we get to choose how we show up in our professionalism, right? And and I think that I see this happening more and more. People are defining the type of entrepreneur that they are. Social change entrepreneur,
Yeah.
spiritual entrepreneur. Um, there's ways you show up around that. So when I look at you as a mentor, for example, right? So now that packs on a few other components to
Yeah.
April. When really, like, so when I look at, okay, writer, speaker, mentor, professor, you've always probably been those things. But at what stage do you feel comfortable releasing each part of yourself into your profession? And I ask that because so many people are in the space to where they feel like I'm doing too much. But is it really?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, Rashad. Rashad, I always brought my whole authentic self. I can honestly say that without any hesitation. But I would circle back to the point that I was making. I probably overdid it. I didn't have many boundaries.
Hmm.
Like I said, the phone calls at 11 o'clock or 6 a.m., the meetings that I said was okay.
Right.
Oftentimes the
Right.
client didn't ask because I wanted to be that coach and that big sister. And regardless of whether or not you have boundaries, there's not a publicist that's worth their weight that doesn't have a story where they were the shoulder to cry on. Now
I mean, it's all the time.
that kind of comes with it. And if you don't know how
Yeah.
to be a listener, then
Right.
and to navigate when the client is hurting or insecure or they want revenge PR or they're doing too much or they're whores about their desire to be in front of the camera. I think there is a toxic approach to PR and there's some people that have an obsession and
Yes.
that's a lack of balance that I can't embrace, right?
And where do you think that comes from? Because you see it more and more as of late over the last few
Yes,
years. What do you
yes.
attribute that to?
Um,
And I mean, just this is a sidebar. And there's publicists that aspire to be the celebrity as well. So it's like,
Yes,
what, like, where does that come from?
I think it could come from a number of different places. Um, I would the least one a number of different places, right? When a person is out of balance and they're obsessing about something, that speaks to something internal, to your point, something spiritual that needs some balance, some healing, some nourishment, perhaps, um, some introspection. And I don't know that even as a society that we are well trained at how to be quiet and to
Mhm.
trust that we don't always have to speak, even if we have the ability to speak. We don't always have to showcase our intelligence, even if we have degrees. We don't even have a society that says you are valuable and intelligent, even if you don't have a degree, right?
Right.
So we start to chase for these things, and then since 2007, I'm just using that as a roundabout time when social media exploded. It took advantage of every insecurity, everything that was out of balance, every
You're right about
obsession,
that.
everything.
Right about that.
It was always there. But social media and our ability to connect in a global way instantly, uh, you and I remember when it took forever to get online, and all we had was AOL, and it was dial up.
And then you had to wait for that sound. You waited for the they
Yes,
called up the number. You had
but
to wait for
even
the
then,
sound. If
but
somebody picked
even
up the
then,
phone, you had to start all over again.
but even then,
Yes.
even then, we didn't know what we know then, what we know now, because even that was miraculous. The sending of an
Hmm.
email, text
We're like,
messages, like
whoa.
pagers, that that was miraculous. And now that's all old school and ancient. But my point is the ability to connect so quickly and with so many people. We got exposed to stuff that we would have had to walk to the library to find out about. We would have
Hmm.
had
Hmm.
to, yeah, so I think it became over, or and has become and still is for many people overwhelming. I
Hmm.
think there's not a lot of moderation. I think it's just so many things. We really could have a whole segment just on that. But
We should.
there's been some damage. There's been some damage that social media has done. And I have had a love-hate relationship with social media. I can't stand it
I can
sometimes.
imagine. It's such a tool, though. It's a tool
It's
for
such
the
a
work that
tool.
we do.
So
Yeah.
my thing is to establish that balance, and it's really peculiar to be in my field and to have this love-hate relationship. But I'll say this though, if I may, what I have come to learn, because I never abandoned my craft, I never stopped betting on myself, even with familiars. What I have come to learn is that some of the things that I was talking about in 2003, 4, 7, 2011, taking a break from social media, don't give up on your email list. Make
Hmm.
sure that your social media communications mirror humane communications. Some of that stuff is coming out. I cannot stand it, and I need this to go on record. When people reach out to me and text me for the first time and they start with the ask. No good morning, no hi, no hey, you what's up, bitch? Something. But we are trained in such a way, or not mindful, that we should greet each other. My parents are from the South. I was a certain way, and there's value in it. And I don't even know how to make my first communication with someone without greeting them. And I
Right.
think there's a spiritual principle there. I see you as a human being. I'm going to greet you before I fix my face to ask you for something.
Yeah.
Those are principles upon which we stand. And it's little things, but
I
they
think it's our
represent a
I
lot.
think our age too. Like our age has, we were taught those things. That was a part of the conversations our parents had with us when we greet people, right?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
say hello to Miss so and so now. People are saying You don't have to speak to anyone if you don't want to. That's a part of what the
Well, you do though, and those very things which are foundations and pieces. I'm just adding some comments here. I'm gonna let y'all continue with the conversation,
No, I'm all
which I'm
ears.
we need
enjoying.
to hear from you too, see?
Um, those things are important, and when technology fails, which it will, and it malfunctions, which it will, you need those skills that you are talking about. You need those very things that were taught and those very foundations that were laid in order to navigate the world. Because technology, I continue to tell people this, it's a tool. It doesn't replace people. It's a method, it's a means, it's a thing, but it doesn't replace the foundation. You will always need that foundation because technology will fail.
Yes, I agree, and I think that there's a certain kind of person that is willing to just go beyond the transaction, right? Some of the most basic "I see you as a human being" transactions are not taken by some of the most progressive people I know, right? But we are chasing the data. We are chasing the ability to teach. Some of us are hell bent on being first. It could be the most progressive social justice principle or latest news, and we are serving the community because we're putting out the truth and we're doing all of that. And but it's steeped in competition, right? I got to be first. It's steeped in um, I'm gonna save humanity like people. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be the best activist, the best organizer, but but I don't see you.
Right.
So I think that's a disconnect.
Definitely.
I'm rattled by what Rachel said, where, or was it you? One of you just now said there's some people like you don't speak if you don't want to.
That was Rachel, yeah.
Okay, so that that's true, right? Because I'm not one. I don't like the should. I don't do the finger wagging. Um, Ultimately, that I respect your decision. So then I would. We won't have a relationship.
Right.
We
Exactly.
won't. We because we don't have to. We don't
True.
have to have a
True.
relationship. If you choose not to speak, that's fine. And I'm
Right.
not throwing people away because they don't say hi.
Right. Exactly.
But people text me all the time. Can you send this? My reply is good morning.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
get it
Exactly.
then.
Right. Right. But sometimes you have to teach. You have to take that moment to correct things or just show people a different way, as opposed to saying correct. Show people a different way, right? And that's where mentorship comes in. So I
Yeah.
want to ask you this: in today's world, what does mentorship looks like for those young people who are now coming up in the society that we live in with the different things that we have with the technology and the tools that they have, where some of them feel, well, I don't really have to do XYZ because I can look it up or I can Google or what have you, which is limited, even though a lot of people think that it's not. There's limits to that. And there are
Yeah.
things that you don't get from Googling as opposed to speaking to someone like yourself who has this background and who has experience in these different areas that can show you things that are not on a computer, that are not in Google, that you don't get with technology.
Really good questions here. I would say around mentorship. Um, as a communicator who strives to be better and better at communicating every day, the least of what I think is important for that one who has that title as mentor is to listen, and not to wait your turn. not listen so you can pounce when the person finished talking, not listen so you can finger wag, and not listen to make it the generational Olympics. Well, back in my day, like even though that's there, you ain't got to put that out there. Nobody wants to hear that. You know what I mean? And not that you can't reference your experiences, right? You're in a mentor mentee relationship because your experiences matter. But I think there's a way that one can mentor that I think it should be steeped in listening, steeped in valuing a person's experiences and being willing to learn. And I say that as a former, well, I won't say former educator, but I was a classroom teacher in, NYC public schools for a number of years. Um, Pedagogy of the Oppressed was my guide. I studied that book in college, and to the extent that we can remember that in any relationship is cyclical, the relationship, the energy, the living, I mean the learning and the teaching is actually cyclical, and that the teacher is going to learn or the mentor is going to learn from the mentee or the student as well. I think there's a certain amount of humility that's needed, but none of that erases the fact that your wisdom or your knowledge, not your age, you know, there are a lot I there are people in my life who are years younger than I, and when they walk into the room, I shut up. I shut up and I listen because there's certain things that they have mastery of that so I listen. So it's your wisdom, it's your knowledge, it's your character, that matters. So we should have that listening skill, but also when it's time for us to teach or mentor or to share our experiences and our life lessons and our cautionary tales, I think that there's a way to do it so that the person doesn't feel like you're being condescending, and
Big
that's
time.
that's that's a skill too. But this finger wagging, which y'all, and I'm not talking about the humor. Like sometimes it could be funny if you're a comedian, if you know how to use that humor. But I'm talking about those serious conversations where everything is steeped in, I'm better than you, I'm older, shut up and listen. That's not healthy, and there's a lot of that going around. Um, I hope I answered your question. I'll pause there.
Girl, you answering all the questions. So I have two more because I know we're running out of time. Where
I'm
did you get
good.
your name? Where did Akila come from?
I should have a succinct way to answer that. And my friends always tease me because I never put it in capsule form. But Akila means, Akila means she who reasons or she who is intelligent.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and so, so that's part A. And part B is work songs, of course, comes from our tradition here as people of African ancestry and on the continent. The manner by which we work. There's the marriage of work and music, work and sound, work and rhythm. And so when I was contemplating the name, but what I wanted the company to be named, and this was prior to 93. I went to that do we all have the the golden book of African names? Do we all have that?
Did you go there?
Oh, I did because I knew I wanted the first word to start with an A because
Okay.
my legal name starts with an A, so I knew that.
Okay.
So I went to African names, which has, from traditional cultures, and there's some Islamic names in there as well. When I saw Akil and I saw the meaning, I was like, oh, I
That's me.
identify as someone who is intelligent and reasonable, and someone
Mhm.
who reasons. So I was like, that's it. And then work songs was just the full embodiment of the work. There's the fusion of arts and activism in work songs. So I just put it together, and I remember one of my first meetings with Terry Williams. She used to have what she called those informational meetings, where you could book time with her. She'd take a whole bunch of people out to dinner. This was when, oh my gosh, this was the early 90s.
And those were
So,
the best.
oh my gosh. And it was I remember we were somewhere. I think we were at the restaurant that Ashford and Simpson owns.
Oh, the on 72nd Street.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
There was a
Mhm.
big
They used to have an
round
open mic
table.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sugar something,
Sugar
sugar.
bar.
yeah, exactly. So I remember being there, and I could not believe that she agreed to let me be in that group meeting, and it was my turn to speak, and for her to hear what it is that I was about and what the company was about, and it was all of that. And I told her the name. She was like, "Girl, ain't nobody gonna remember that." I was like, "Oh." I was so hurt. She was like, "That's too complicated." Akila, what? What does it mean,
Wow.
April? What does it mean? And she was being practical. And she
Right.
wasn't trying to hurt me. I wasn't being
Right.
hazed. But she was like, "Yeah, you need to come up with another name. You got to keep it simple, April. It's too complicated. What does it mean?" And I agreed to everything during that meeting except that. I was like, "Oh, you just put a fire under me now, because now I'm gonna make people know what it means, and I'm gonna." Man, I was so inspired to prove her wrong, but not from a just, if there's a such thing as that being, birthed in a pure spirit. um
Mhm.
but I just agreed with everything. We maintained a wonderful relationship, over the years. She's such a mentor, but I was like, "Yeah, you're wrong on that one." So
Yeah. This is my thing, my thing.
that what?
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And my last question, well, it may not be my last, but my next question, um, of all of the years you've been doing your work, and you've worked with a lot of people, you've done a lot of things, right? What one or two experiences or clients made you feel like this is the reason I got into this business?
Woo. Wow. Y'all should have sent me that one in advance. Oh my gosh. Okay. One comes to mind. I'm not saying this is, but it's one of.
Right.
This is in the late 90s, I think it was. It was before social media.
Brad.
Had to be the late 90s. And my email list, everybody, please go to akilaworksongs.com and sign up for the email list, because that, for me, that predates. Our email list started in 97.
Mm.
And we had, a reputation in the cultural arts community here in New York for, having good content that we would send out for free. Everybody's like, "You got to join this." It was called e-announcements at the time. It wasn't called Put on Blast at the time. So shout out to the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, because they were my first client with the email list. And this was right when they started, again, late 90s, right? So one day we got a call from the Apollo Theater, and Chris Rock was having a show at Madison Square Garden. And he wanted to do another show at the Apollo Theater, but it was too close. You know how what is the clause called when you can't do a show in the same city or in the same radius? I forgot. I'm drawing a blank.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know what you
he
mean.
want yeah, he wanted to do his show. He wanted to bring that set to the Apollo, but he couldn't because he was at Radio City Music Hall, right? But he was like, "Bump that. We're going to do something at the Apollo." So there was no time. There was no time
Mm.
to get tickets sold because it was unannounced, it was unofficial. But the Apollo called. I think maybe it was Bill Stephanie that called. Shout out to Bill Stephanie, and was like, "Yo, can you get this show? The fact that he's going to be at the Apollo, can you get this to your list?" They had sold a handful of tickets on their own. They put it in our lap, and we sold out the Apollo Theater with Chris Rock,
Nice.
which is not hard, but still, we did it within 12 hours.
Wow.
So shout out to him for wanting to make sure he did his show, at home
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
Apollo. And shout out to the Apollo. And again, this was the late 90s. We still have a wonderful relationship with the Apollo Theater.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things that made me know, like, okay, we people listen to us. We showed it. And
Yeah.
what is the Apollo? Maybe 1,200 people or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Give or
Somewhere
take.
around there.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was one thing. And I'll come fast forward to last year. Y'all know my relationship with KRS and a lot of the hip hop legends. I wonderful relationships. I used to be Dougie Fresh's assistant. Wonderful relationship. You know, Sister Soldier is my mentor,
Love her.
and Chuck D, you love her, right? So last year was the 50th anniversary of hip hop. The Brooklyn Public Library, shout out to them, was doing this massive event. And I'll fast forward to the point where they was like, we want you to help curate. But it was like 2 months before the big event at the Brooklyn Public Library for the night of philosophy, massive event. 4,000 people showed up. It was a wonderful experience. And they was like, you can choose who you want to interview or do a special program separate and apart from the dilemma series, a number of conversations. And I was like, whoa, this is so last minute. And I let me see if I could just, I haven't talked to him in 30 years, but I'm gonna just put it out there. It's the 50th anniversary. So I literally had not talked to KRS-One in 30 years. So I
Mm.
reached out, and and I was like, Simone, his wife and his manager, I said, Simone, you don't remember, I'm sure, but we worked together with the United Nations, back in the day, 30 years ago, but this is April, and I'm doing my whole spiel because it's literally been 30 years. She was like, April, I know who you are.
You're
We
doing
talk
too
about
much.
you all the time. I turned into a 5-year-old. And I was like, whoa, I turned into a 5-year-old. There's such wonderful human beings. And he did with me at an obscene discount. Obscene. He as
Mm.
well have said, and I'm not trying to put his business out. That's how much he wanted to do this event because he wrote his first name at the public library. And that's where the event was. So for him, it was a way of coming home. He used to, y'all know the story. He used to sleep in the park. He used to sleep in Prospect Park. He used to come to Brooklyn Public Library across the street from Prospect Park to bathe himself when he was homeless. So it wasn't, I think it was a spiritual thing for him as well. And we had an amazing one-on-one conversation celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And that, yeah, that was a lot. And then the same month, Doug came out and did a one-on-one with me and Kevin Powell for my 30th anniversary at National Sawdust. Those two events within the 2 weeks of each other.
Wow.
So yeah, those
That's a
those are
lot.
three.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
I
Those are
could
things
go
that people
on.
aspire to be able to do. People aspire to
Yeah,
be able to have these conversations, in their career or about their career. And if we have anyone that's listening to us now, that's tuned into the show or that will tune into the show that would like to be in communications or would like to be a publicist, what 2 or 3 things can you give them off the bat?
yeah. Don't jump in if you're not ready for the feast or famine. Like really, it's got to be a calling. I think
Mm,
communications and marketing and facilitating messaging and helping people craft their message and to get the word, that's a calling. That's a calling. I don't know how to approach it as a job. So
hmm.
I think the longevity matters, like why you're doing it. And I would say, really ask yourself the hard questions. Am I doing this because I want to be famous? If that's the answer, okay. So just know that, like, honest with yourself. Maybe you should be in front of the camera instead of behind. I don't know, but ask yourself the hard questions and surround yourself with smart people. I
Mm.
have to
That's
shout
a good
out
one.
Drake Holiday. He's been with me since day one. Everybody who's been a part of Team Akila, it matters. It really matters. But you got to develop this perseverance. It's critical. It's
Yeah.
especially yeah. It's really critical. So if I had to close out and say two things, it's to ask yourself the hard questions. Do it only if it's a passion. We don't work with hobbyists. We don't even allow clients who are not ready to deal with us. And that's a mantra. We don't work with hobbyists. And we set our fees now. We set our fees to make, particularly for the independent artists, to make them stretch.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wasn't
those are
always like that.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Those are
our fees
wonderful. Yeah.
are reasonable, but then I put a little on it because you
Little
gotta
something, something. Yeah.
little something because I gotta know that one you're gonna pay, right, and that you really mean this. I'm gonna need you to
That you're
stretch
serious. That's
because I
right.
do.
That's right.
So yeah,
I always tell people we can't believe in you more than you do. So, you
yeah,
know, yeah.
yeah.
Well, we want to thank you, April, for joining us. We may have a part two because there's a
Got
whole
to.
another aspect of this entrepreneurship, communications, African indigenous traditions that I
Uh,
would like to right. Like there's a
but
whole
are you
nother
looking at what I got? Are you looking at?
what?
No, I'm just teasing. I
Oh
thought I
no,
thought
I'm
that was a nod
serious.
to my elegant.
I'm serious. No, I'm serious. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, no. I think those things are important. And when they come together, it shows up like you. So
yeah.
and a lot of people don't know how to do that. So yeah.
But I'm really honored to be with you all because you all been doing this for a minute as well.
Hmm.
Like for a
Yeah.
long. How many years has it been for you all?
Well, we started
Wow.
this 2008,
This
9.
this this show indie review since 2010.
Was it
Okay,
2010?
2010, yes. It was 2010.
Okay. It was right before I left New York and moved to Atlanta. Right.
oh,
Specifically
you in
2010.
Atlanta? Okay, okay, yeah.
Yes, yes,
No,
Well,
yes.
now
that
I'm in Louisiana, but I live in Atlanta.
Right.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
But we're just, we have breathed new life into the show. And so we
Yeah.
have some more good stuff coming up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I got some clients for y'all too.
Bring them.
So
Bring
you're
them.
Yeah.
gonna
Bring
get
them
my
on.
pitch. You're gonna get my
Tell them to be
pitch
ready.
email.
Tell them to be ready. I tell them to be ready.
Right.
Well,
Well,
thank you
the
so
one
much,
thing
April.
the
Yeah.
one thing we do know is that whoever April works with, they are ready. Like
They
when they
ready. That's right.
to do things like this, like we already know April has already put them through to like no what it is like you know she's gotten them prepared already.
Yeah,
Yeah. We
yeah.
love it. We love it. We really appreciate you being and you were on our show when we first started. So you're one of our
Oh,
intellectuals, we call our guests, intellectuals.
Exactly, exactly. Yes,
So
indeed.
yeah.
And for those who've been watching and looking, we've been scrolling her information, underneath everything, the website, the IG, Facebook, and so forth. Most of it is at Akila Worksongs, or just go to AkilaWorksongs.com, and you can navigate from there as far as like how to get the contacts and in touch and get on that mailing list to put on blast.
Yes.
yes.
I've been on that list since I don't know how long.
Probably since
And
day
Wow.
one.
yeah, yeah,
Probably since.
probably since day one. Great
And that's something.
information, great events that you get, hooked onto and linked to. So
I
definitely
was
get on
trying to
that
get you
list.
to. I was trying to get you to get the free tickets for the NJ Pack, the tribute to Funk. That
I
was
know
Mm.
I had
yeah.
something already scheduled, so I couldn't do it. But yeah,
But
yeah,
we got more free tickets coming. And as press, if y'all ever see anything, as members of the press, if you ever see anything, whether we announce the promo or not, please let me know
Will do.
because yeah, you get to go, you get to as members of the working press, like we don't yeah, that's for you. So just keep that in mind. If you ever see anything, hit me up. See truth, we text back and forth. So
yes.
that's a reminder. Like, please,
Gotcha,
definitely
gotcha.
take
No
advantage of
question, no
that.
Thank
question.
you.
Don't
Yes,
Thank you for
don't
indeed.
that.
even hesitate because either the client is going to say the list is closed or not. But 9 times out of 10, everybody we work with, they have press comps and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So
We
Ray,
appreciate you, April.
let's do the daily slice and bring it home.
All right. So listen, April, I know that at the end of every show, we share the daily slice, right? Which is a small slither of life's cake that we share with folks that are you putting it up or do I need to read it?
No, keep going. Just
Oh,
uh,
so it's just something that people can take with them and read for the day, the week, for their life, however they want to do it. Yeah. So today's daily slice is this. I am healing, growing, and becoming better. I'm shifting into the power of love. I'm dropping lack and fear. It doesn't serve me or those around me anymore. I feel empowered, inspired, and I'm bringing this energy with me everywhere I go. And that is our daily slice for today. Make sure that you guys are really in tune to that love, in tune to Anytime you feel the energy of lack, it's not going to serve you. Flip that into the ability to know you can make it happen, and
Exactly.
definitely take it everywhere you go. See, Truth, any parting words from you?
Be sure to pick and choose your battles wisely so you may return another day to win the war. Don't settle for crumbs. Get the ingredients to make the cake.
Awesome. As always, y'all, we are sending you lots of love and light. And until next time, have a great night. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.